I'm John Wilson. Welcome to Owned and Operated. Twice a week, we talk about home service businesses. And if you're a home service entrepreneur, then this is going to be the show for you. We talk about our own business in residential plumbing, HVAC, and electric. And we also talk about business models that we just find interesting. Let's get into it. Well, I never thought I would say this, but I actually started to like Facebook again. So we started a Facebook group a couple weeks ago, and it's been growing really fast. It's like 50 to 60 members a week right now, which has just been awesome. The engagement's been awesome. We're learning. People are sharing really valuable stuff. And honestly, it's just been a lot of fun to be able to engage so closely with people in my industry. It's something that I missed a lot. So if you're interested in talking to other folks from home service, primarily plumbing, HVAC, and electrical, check out our Facebook group. So it's Plumbing, HVAC, and Electrical Business Growth, hosted by Owned and Operated, and check the link below. Welcome back
to Owned and Operated. If you're watching today and you notice my blue background, this is it's a new setup.
No, it's good.
Feel good.
He has some really great books. It makes him look really smart. The paint lines look pretty clean. Big fan.
Yeah,
love it. Great work. How's your week?
Our week is really good. HVAC just crossed the $1 million mark. So without plumbing,
like year to date.
Year to date.
Okay.
So HVAC
month to date
busted through $1 million, and it's the first week of June. Our June numbers are above and ahead schedule for our $500,000 month. Our first $500,000 month. We're shooting hard.
Let's get it. Let's
pushing
get it.
hard. And this end of this week, 90 degrees in Tennessee. I'm freaking excited, man. I'm so pumped.
Oh yeah. Same. It's supposed to be like 98 next week.
Yeah. So there's a direct path to weather enhanced wise. I think we're gonna hit our first $500,000 month. Which
I need to text Brandon about that real quick.
Cut this part. But so we're really excited. I'm gonna wait for you to come back.
No, we're good.
Yeah, so I mean, we have a few issues with growth still. I mean, lots of stuff in the way, which I think we always will see. But overall, really happy, really excited going into summer, real summer, the first really hot month. Mm-hmm. What about you, man? What are you up to?
Now I'm texting Brandon about this.
Yeah.
Big moves on our end has been we have a couple cohorts that have graduated from our new onboarding program, which I don't remember if we've talked about that on here, but that has been insane. So the theory was, can every person be $1 million revenue mover, either in sales or fulfillment? And so far we've proven that yes, they can in fact do that, which has been huge for us. So we're really excited about that.
So many questions.
Yeah,
that's a really interesting theory that will drive. I mean, if you can create the training program so that every single person, it's less of a hiring lift to get there.
Yeah. And when we think about our next year, we're starting to work towards greenfield locations again. So as we're thinking about this, we're thinking about, okay, in order to have a $4 million location, we only need 8 techs. We can do that. So yeah, that's been really cool. I mean, maybe 10 if we stretch it with apprentices or something, but that's been a really big mover for us. And really honing in on in-person marketing, which has been cool. And we have our 4th call by call manager just started, and that's been like, that's been wild for us, really, because like I think we were recording at the time, but we last year was a huge upheaval in like the way we handled field management, and we went from trade managers, which like managed all of it, and like we've added like 9 middle managers for frontline managers since then. 4 of them being like service managers. So like we didn't have service managers a year ago, and now there's 4. And like figuring this is back to my theory of like, once you break 20 million, 25 million, somewhere there, like in order to get to 50, it's all just more of the same. So like the big lift was the first call by call manager, and like, what's the process? What's the human being? What does this look like? What is the workflow? How do their days work? How does the team work with them? And then like, once we got that first one down, we've now replicated that like 4 times. And it's gotten easier with each one, because now we just have a system and like, oh, this is the way we do call by call. So that's been cool to watch.
For people who don't necessarily know what call by call is, what does that person like? What's their duty? What's their job? And why is it so important?
Okay. Yeah. So, excuse me. So call by call, I will say what it is, and then I'll give a better analogy for it. So call by call, is a different take on service manager. So service manager is, everyone sort of has their quintessential service manager. They're driving in the field a lot. They're going on jobs. They're, I don't know, doing whatever.
Receiving troubleshooting calls.
Yeah. Which our call by calls will still receive a little bit of that, but call by call's job is to help coach technicians in real time. So, the topic that we're going to be talking about today, honestly, it's all tied in, which is like options and sales. So a couple weeks ago, must have been, we talked about like our average ticket, like, because our average ticket is a lot. It's high. And people were like, what the heck? Like, my average ticket's $400.
Yeah, I didn't sleep that entire night. You realize that? Like, I texted you at 3 a.m. because I didn't sleep.
You did text me at 3 a.m.
Just because it was so, like, that's how mind blowing this conversation is, and we've already seen a doubling of ours by this implementation. But there's so many questions now, because like it's like we talked about before, where you can tell somebody like, hey, this is how you do something. But to actually implement it is there's so much more to it, and there's so like there's all these questions.
I did a whole tweet on that of like where's the nuance, right?
Exactly.
So I could draw someone a map and a step-by-step plan on going from $1 to $26 million. Exactly what to do, exactly when to do it, everything that you'd need to know. And like, you're still missing all the nuance. Like, you're still missing like why am I doing in-person marketing? Like the 6 or 7 months of like that rattling around in my brain and like solving that problem before actually executing, like you're missing everything that happened inside there. So yeah, I do think, because people will ask like, why do I, like a lot of people that directly compete with me listen to the show or read the newsletter or engage, and it just doesn't matter. Like, if they figure it out, great. But like, it'll take them years to figure it out, and they're missing all the nuance because they still have to learn everything that we learned. I was just talking with somebody else today, and we were talking about how training was our big focus and why that's such a huge focus for us over the next 12 months. And like, yes, we have like these new apps that like help us train better, and we have these new training programs. So I could say, hey, we train 5 days a week, which we do. And that doesn't give you anything to figure out what to train on, how to train effectively, who do you train, who's doing the training, what's the subjects. So so much nuance, much nuance.
So sorry, I know I took us down a rabbit hole, but so how does, circling back, like how does that call by call manager affect that, your opportunities?
Yeah. So if we think about all the different things that the technicians are accountable for doing in their home, they're like, we're there to be a mechanic, we're there to be like a comfort advisor. We're there to talk about their problems. We're there to be kind people. We're there to give a 5-star experience. We're there to be a salesperson. We're there to do all these different things. And a call by call is meant to help coach those technicians along. So the way we think about service management is reactive. So, hey, this thing happened, so I'm going to address it. So, a service manager reviews tickets at the end of the day. Okay, well, at the end of the day, the job's already done. So, like, whatever happened, happened. Or like, hey, this bad thing happened, service manager. Can you come bail me out? Call by call management is meant to be live. Like, hey, I'm in the customer's home. I'm trying to figure out options. I'm trying to figure out this problem. How do I do this? How do we build options that make this make sense? How do we put it all together? So that's how we think about call by call. Another way to put this is a lot of commercial HVAC companies will have like an inside salesperson where like the technician goes out and they call the inside salesperson or the service manager or something, and that the inside salesperson prices the job from there. So that's kind of close to what this actually looks like. Now, we're not pricing the job in the office. Some companies do use their call by calls that way. But basically, we manage every call at the time of call in the middle of that call versus like managing the team after it happened.
Yeah. And so that's extremely interesting because, I mean, and so those people at the time on the sale are helping with recommendations. They're helping with issues that are arising. And so what does that look like now? Like the number of call-by-call managers to the number of techs? Because I would imagine, right, you have 6 HVAC techs. Is that 1? Is that 2? Like they're all calling at the same time. Like how does that like there's the nuance. How does that process work?
Booking every lead that we get has become hugely important. So when we pay all that money and we do all that work to get that phone to ring, we want to make sure that we're booking all of them. We've looked for a lot of different solutions and we ended up landing on Avoca. So Avoca has been hugely impactful in our business. We launched in late March, early April, and we've already seen an increase in booking rates, which we're really excited about. So what Avoca does is they have a coaching program that listens to all of your calls and basically helps point out the areas that your call center can improve on those calls. It's active coaching every single day. And it listens to every single call, which is one of the biggest pain points that we've had in our call centers. Whenever we're grading calls, it's manual. You can only listen to 1 or 2 at a time. Now we can review 400 phone calls a day easily, and we can coach on them quickly. So the impact has been huge, and we've been really grateful for Tyson and his team over at Avoca for helping us get our call center in order. He gave us a special code, so if you check out the link below for Avoca and you use the promo code OWNED, OWNED, you'll get special pricing since you got it from us. So check it out, the link below. So technicians out on the job, and we start uploading photos live. We start updating, and that's a lot of it. So like, hey, we're going to start like looking at the photos as they come in. We're going to start internally building options. Now the tech should be building options in their head or like should be building options in ServiceTitan already. And a lot of what the call by call does, depending on the tenure or like how much work that person like needs help with, they'll just like the technicians.
Okay, so it's not like a debrief. They're not required to call. They only call if they kind of. Okay, well, so they are.
Yes, it depends. It depends on like where the technician is in the stage of their career, basically. Like, hey, do you consistently give good options? Is your close rate good? Is like, are you hitting your KPIs? If you're hitting your KPIs, then the call by call just reviews it, glances over it, says, "Yep, you're good to go. Let me know what happens." Yeah. If you're not hitting your KPIs, then the call by call gets much more involved in the process of closing that call.
Very cool. Very cool. And so now here's where like this, so we don't have any call by call managers. We do have service manager / 10 hats, managers,
Yeah.
at this size, we kind of have to do that. So what we're running into, we've implemented this, we've focused on this. Now we're trying to figure out the nuance of this and the opportunities. The big question becomes now, you mentioned it in kind of passing, but good options.
Yeah.
And so this is a huge rabbit hole in like, what is a good option? How have you found those? How have you trained on those? Because there's so many products. You walk into any store, right, for plumbing, HVAC, you could sell anything from a surge protector on an HVAC unit to AC Renew to this little trinket that does this, and like there's just infinity products. So how are you optimizing for that and choosing? I guess that's where it starts. Is how as you as a company owner are picking the products that they're going to sell. And then how are you then relaying that information and training them?
Well, we do train a lot. Like I wasn't exaggerating with 5 days a week. So that does help. And this would be an example of like what to cover in a training. Is like, hey, but I think like, what's the frequency of training? Like how often are you training? How often are you coaching? Because the way we think about
twice a week because of this, and that was the problem. Right. Is it's like,
and even that's not enough, probably.
I 100% agree.
Because we used to think one time a week was enough, and I think a lot of it is like, oh, what do you train on? But then when you get bigger and bigger and you get more data, like let's run this out for a second.
Yeah.
So your team, you start requiring 3 options. Like, hey, you got to do 3 options. Well, what happens next? Right? You probably get 3 bad options.
Options.
Right. So like, how do you get better at that? A couple different.
I'll speak on like how we did is our first step and our only step so far, because now we've run into like what are good options. Our first step is we've gone through as a manager level and created what we called option trees. And so what that looks like is, right, you sell X, then you should offer Y and Z if it's a certain scenario, but there's only so many of those you can do. And so, for example, if you sell a pressure regulating valve because a house is 100 PSI, like the next thing that you should look at is the expansion tank on their water heater because it's most likely been blown out. And so you didn't just show up, change out the PRV and move on, which is what we found what we were doing, what most companies do. We are taking the next step in doing that, and creating this tree for our employees so that, maybe it's a newer guy we just onboarded. He worked at a smaller facility, great person, good personality, great plumber, but that tree is not something that I think comes natural. Is like when you sell X, you need to look at Y and Z. So how did you like surpass that and move on to the next step? Because it feels like that's a ton of lift from very skilled people who know the industry extremely well to be able to create that. And it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. So we have done some of that. I would actually probably say you might be further developed than we are. A lot of it's through training or through call by call. So like we're actually working on documenting that better right now. Yeah. But the best way we do that is like call by call is a second set of eyes on everything. So like, oh, hey, you did this. Did you check this? Now where we're struggling is that's not documented cross trade. So we're working on that as we move up, because like a barrier that we're going to run into in the next couple of years is, okay, we have 4 call by calls. What happens when you have 10? And what happens when they're no longer trade specific? When your drain call by call has to call by call for electric, does he have the tools that he needs to be effective? And right now we would fail at that because we're trade specific.
Do you utilize the Service Titan function for that? Because I know there's a recommendation function in Service Titan where if X happens and you recommend Y. We haven't. So
we're like 2 months into Pricebook Pro. So we're just uncovering. Yeah, we're just starting to work on that because our old one didn't do that. So that's why it's still like a new discipline for us. But that said, I do think what we missed here was probably the more important part. So
interested.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Solid lead into the next part of the conversation. The phrase that I like to use is you earn the right to offer options, which we didn't talk about that yet. So the way I think about options is like you can overcomplicate it any which way. But if you're offering options, you should be offering something that customer either wants or need. And like we're a big believer of selling through education, not fear. Like transparency is a core value, big part of what we do here. And when we think about sales, we think of it as education. So now what I'm going to talk about is not John's thoughts. This is Nexstar, which we're really grateful to be a part of Nexstar. But they have like the 6 steps. And if you're in certain path, there's a 6 steps or service MVP. Everyone's got their steps. Nexstar's is what I'm going to quote here because it's what we do. And they have the greet, and then they have the, today's agenda, and then you have the explore step. And the explore step is like one of the most important things that you do. So the explore step is like lifestyle questions, looking at the issues, understanding the totality of the home. What does the plumbing look like? What does the electric look like? And it's the purpose of the explore step is to earn the right to offer options. So if we're already like pre-focusing, now granted, I do think you can pre-build packages and you can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I really think that options get built by like, what is that homeowner's lifestyle? I'm going to give you an example of doing it badly.
Yeah, this is extremely interesting because we do it backwards. So I'm following.
Yeah.
But go for it. So
we will secret shop competitors, and we had a competitor out maybe 6-7 months ago to one of our team members' houses, and they came out for a toilet repair. And what I suspect happened is there's some quota to do whatever. So they came out for this toilet repair. And when we were given the estimate for the work, there was a toilet repair. There was a toilet replacement. Then out of absolutely nowhere, there was a 50-gallon water heater. Yeah. 50-gallon water heater and a tankless water heater.
Yeah.
So it like that for us cemented, and like that had never come up at any point in the conversation. Now, granted, if it came up in the conversation, okay. Like if you're offering solutions, if there's, oh, hey, do you always, is it cold when you finally get to the shower because all your kids go first? Like, are you looking for energy savings? Do you want endless hot water? Like there's a lot of different ways to handle that. But like that person didn't earn the right to bring up an $8,000 tankless water heater quote before presenting it. So when the estimate was handed to us, now granted we were secret shopping, but like, it was just like, what the hell were you thinking? Because like this never came up anywhere that you were going to offer me this option.
Not to mention like the subtext of this too is that you didn't ask for it and they went and they like, they went through your home, found the water heater, took a picture of it.
Yep.
Then they got the price and then they came back and gave it to you. Otherwise I wouldn't have known it's a 50-gallon. So the subtext on there too is extremely negative. And what we get a lot, not our company get a lot, but we get a lot of customers from a big company in the area who does that. They show up for something and they sell a water heater, and it pisses people off.
Yeah.
It's interesting though that you say it like that. Earn the right. We're gonna have to take this moving forward because we do it a bit of a different way. And I like your way a lot better.
HVAC, it's especially like a thing. Because HVAC is so notorious for like pushing units unethically. So consumers naturally have their guard up, which frankly they should. Like they like the HVAC industry deserves that.
Yep.
So like how you present options and earning the right is even more important, because if you just come in and like look at it and you're like, yep, you need a new one. Like you didn't earn the right to flip that or to talk about a comfort advisor with that person yet. You didn't build rapport. You didn't build trust. You just came in. Like that's $15,000 that we're casually talking about flipping. Like, so I think with HVAC especially, you have to really understand like what's going on in that home, what's the needs of that homeowner, maybe what's the budget, What have they put into the system? Do they care about energy savings? Are there cold spots that they're not happy about? Are there hot spots they're not happy about? And like really like, yeah, earn the right to talk about air quality or
And do you envision
humidification.
this a lot happening, quote unquote, at the thermostat? Is that the place that this takes place for you in your company?
I don't know. I mean, maybe we should be better about this, but I think it's more like you go down to the system and look at it.
That's a good one. Yeah, we do that a lot as well. So the way we do that is significantly different, and we are probably going to move in that direction now. That it's a no brainer. I don't know why we are not doing this. So the way that we do it is, I don't even want to say it now. I'm so
You don't
embarrassed
even have
because,
to. What
yeah,
I think, the way that I think people think about.
We just offer, so here's how we do it. It's like we offer a holistic view to your system. So we ask the homeowner after we're done with their issue if we can do a full system inspection, whether that be plumbing or HVAC, to make sure that the rest of your system is working fine so that we can warranty everything and everything's good to go, which is fair, right? If we plug a leak, I want to make sure that the pressure is not 150 psi, because then you're going to get another leak. And so we do a pressure test, and then that pressure test will show us what the pressure is, and then we can offer options around that. And then a water quality test in conjunction with it, just because we know the water in the area, so we can talk and ask those questions at the time. But my wonder is if it's better to ask those questions up front and then earn the opportunity versus, hey, we've fixed your system, now we're going back and trying to earn the opportunity for to make those options for you. Are we too late on that? And I think the answer is yes. I think that should be done prior.
Yeah, I think that's in the explore. Like, let's dive into what the real, like, let's talk about the pain points. Because like maybe the right solution is fixing it, right? Like we just, what I don't want sincerely is someone to not know the options that they have and to make a poor choice because we didn't tell them that they could do something. So like, what I don't want to fill someone's 20-year-old unit with refrigeration when like they really should probably be thinking about a new one. Like you don't have to, but like it would be insane to replace the engine on a 20-year-old car and not talk about replacing it. So, but if they still choose to replace it, like pop off, do your thing, but they should know about it. So yeah, I think handling that before work begins matters a lot, because I really think like if you have a conversation with people, they'll tell you what they want. And then all you have to do is like build options around it.
Yeah. And that's what I think we need to spend better time on training and getting better on, is that explore phase, because I think we push that explore phase to the very end. And I think the timing's inconsistent. We do it on HVAC because we have the thermometer conversation. So I don't know why we haven't done that on plumbing. It sounds silly, but it requires me to go back through and retrain everybody. Interesting. I mean, I love that. That's really neat that we're able to flop this, because that was going to be one of my questions, is how do you get the intro to other additional items? And the intro and breaking that, getting through that barrier is asking questions at the right time, not finishing the job, giving the bill, and then asking like, oh, like I noticed your water quality, you're in Brentwood, I smelt the chlorine. Would you be interested in a water heater? Like that's a bad way to offer.
100%.
It's not the worst way, but it's definitely not ideal versus starting and saying, hey, like, do you have issues with water quality, or this, and this, and this? How old is the home? Blah, 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 blah. I think that
how many people live here? Are you happy with how this currently works? Like before this broke yesterday, did you have any complaints about your air conditioning? Was there rooms that were uncomfortable? Are you too hot at night? You sort of like just walk through general lifestyle questions. And that sort of opens it up. And I think the way to think about, I've gotten into this conversation a few times now with people from the Facebook group mainly, because we talked about like, hey, the average ticket and like it's big and whatever. And
just whatever.
Yeah, it's just like whatever. But like when we think about because I think people are like, how do you do that? And if you start to really unpack that, a lot of it is like, what jobs are you doing? And that's like, what options are you talking about? So, like, in order to get a $2,500 average ticket, your average job has to be $2,500. And that doesn't sound like that's obvious on one hand, but on the other hand, like, let's unpack that for a second. How
Yeah,
many
I mean,
things can go into $2,500? Like, that literally can't be a lot of faucet repairs, because those aren't $2,500. That can't be a lot of toilet repairs, because that's
but
not
what
$2,500.
but what it can be though, and I think that is important to bring up because this is how we trained our guys is you could have a $600 average ticket for faucet repairs
Yeah.
because you will get those, and if you sell an above average water filtration, we are an extremely wealthy community. The reason that we're not selling water filtrations out left and right is I don't know why. We haven't cracked the code yet, but that's my point to them is 2 water filtrations a week will
Yep.
get you above 2,000 on a $600 ticket. And that's
Yep.
just offering all 40 customers that you have all week
Mhm.
long
Yep.
water quality on every one. But that's what has me rethinking is like, if we are not prepping, like we're going to have below average water heater sales or water
Mhm.
quality sales. So
Yeah.
actually offering and making sure it's a good offer, I think is more important
Yeah. Well,
to
and I
get the
think
trend.
what I was trying to
Yeah.
hone in on is like, where's the lead come from? So like, um, how do you get, because if it can't be a ton of faucet repairs, then like, what are you marketing for? How are you creating communication around the bigger stuff? Like it's not, because again, like, people are like, oh my God, do 20 whatever average ticket. And it's like, yes, but like, there's an upstream and a downstream to that. There's years of work into getting there.
Nuance.
Yeah, there's years of nuance that like you just don't get from listening to a podcast episode off the rip. Like, you can start to get there, but like, there's a lot of steps before that, and there's a lot of steps there, and there's a lot of steps after. And like, even call by call is not the answer. Like, that's not it.
Yeah.
That's not the full answer. There's a bigger answer, because call by call still doesn't, like, you still won't get there, right? You're not going to get to a $2,900 like average faucet repair or something like that. So
No,
yeah,
you're right.
there's a lot
We had
more
this
nuance there.
conversation in our office the other day. It's like the difference in marketing leads versus flips in HVAC.
Yeah.
And, it's building your company for the long term with the correct SEO and with the correct marketing presence, in-person marketing at home shows and this and this. So you're putting your feelers out, but for like the right things versus just blanket LSA for any plumbing at any point in time.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to have a rough time trying to get, and you're going to have capacity issues once you start getting those true leads around too many, hey, faucet repairs, remodel work, BS, when if you built the company right, you could lower your average ticket on PPC for water heater repairs, like the water heater repair pros, who I hate. If you're listening, you guys are amazing, and that's why I hate you.
And we hate you. Yeah, we hate you for it. But yeah, with electric, like, our average ticket in October, I looked this up the other day because I was talking to someone from the Facebook group. Our average ticket in electric was $1,100 in October, and in May it was $3,300. Like, we've tripled the average ticket, and that's not like, there's a lot that went into that. There's call by call, there's options, there's the way we think about the explore step. There's a lot. I think Kristen wanted to unpack this one a lot deeper inside, I don't like a blog or something like that. So like, we're gonna create more on this, because the question keeps coming up in Facebook groups, is like, literally, how are you doing
Rightfully
that?
so, though. I mean, it's a good question, and I think that unlocking this is the key to, right? Once you get
Well,
leads
you
in,
have to. You have to.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to someone, and it's happened a few times. It's not just one person. I've talked to like 3 or 4 people now, all from the Facebook group, on the same problem. And they're like, hey, I've got a leads problem, or hey, like, my average ticket's not there, or whatever. And it's like, no, your average ticket's $400 or $500. Like,
yeah.
in a world where LSAs cost $80 to $100 per lead, there is no way to do what you need to do in this business. Like, you have to be able to figure out a way to charge like enough so you can cover a large lead cost, because the leads from LSA, they're $80, but like you don't sell every single one. So like you might have a loaded cost of $200 per job, which is 50% of a $400 average ticket. Like you literally have to figure this out. You can't live on $400 average tickets.
Nope. It'll sink you. It'll definitely sink you. And I think that this is it's a chicken or the egg. Do you focus on leads first, or do you focus on sales? And I think you focus on sales. You maximize the potential of each sale that you 100%. Get. Because
that's another question that comes up. Like, oh, should we discount because we're starting? And I'm like, no, like you literally can't afford to discount because you need the money from those sales to buy the leads.
Yep.
Like you don't have a choice here. Like you have to be effective when you get that lead.
And then the other part that I want to bring up, just because I don't want to discount it either as part of this conversation, is correct pricing is extremely important too.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned it, like, should I discount? No. Well, we're T&M at $80 an hour. Well, there's half your issue. Or our worked hour average is a $200 in a $600 market. Like, making sure that your pricing is correct is vital, because you're going to get squashed. Hoffman's is double ours, and we're trying to figure out like all the problems and how to get there, but they do amazing, and their pricing is probably not double, but decently more expensive. And but they offer their premium service, and they really do stand by, and they do a great job. So where are you in pricing? How do you maximize that? Because an worked hour average at $300 and if your worked hour average is $600, right? That means that you're already at a $600 average ticket for just average work versus being at a $200 ticket for that same job somewhere else. So that'll significantly change your business as well, and
100%.
help you get above those marks, is having the correct pricing that you need to do business. Let the handyman run $60 an hour. It's not me.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, we'll drop more on this because obviously it's a loaded one. But like this is the big one, or at least the way we think about it. Like we've gotten higher average ticket because we've gotten better and better and better. And like our average ticket 7 years ago was $400, $450, something like that, and now it's in the like mid twos. So yeah, it's possible. Well, I hope this helped. Guys. I hope this helped people. If you liked what you heard, check out ownedandoperated.com. I'm going to keep saying it because I'm really proud of our new website, but like we have a new website. Pretty nice. It looks good.
Also check out the Facebook group, because the Facebook group is popping 300 members. I saw it today.
Yeah, dude, it is popping. Like it's kind of crazy. We get like 10 new members, a week or a day, 10 new members a day. And something that has been crazy to me as someone who's very new to Facebook groups is how gross most other Facebook groups are. It's just like a lot of people like advertising and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like our Facebook group is actually people asking questions, which I like that a lot. We've been really selective about who comes in. Like, hey, you have to be in the industry. Hey, you can't be, we've had a lot of people that are like, I don't even know. Like they're like a bank, or like they're clearly coming in to
solicit, and this is not a solicitation group. It is a owner's group.
We're trying to help people solve problems.
And there's lots of problems being solved out. I'm surprised every time I go on there. It's just great questions.
Yeah, it's really good. And like if you're actively in the Facebook group, we appreciate it. Please continue to engage. It is really cool to watch it be built. I think it's like an exciting, and it's free. Like it's it's just fun.
Yeah, cool. It's lonely too. Lonely being in this industry and not knowing anybody and not knowing what to do. So just join for some camaraderie, if anything. Yeah. But yeah, guys.
Plumbing, HVAC, and electrical growth group hosted by Owned and Operated.
Sweet. And leave us a 5-star review on our podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen. We really appreciate it. It helps us get the name out and the word out. Do you have anything else, John?
Nope.
Awesome.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Owned and Operated, the podcast for home service entrepreneurs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit the like button and subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, feel free to reach out. You can find me on Twitter at @WilsonCompanies. I'll see you next time.